Hello everyone and welcome to the Hunter Association, your source for all things Hunter x Hunter. My name is Kaige.
And my name is Dylan.
And on this week's episode, we are talking about Togashi.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, how about that?
We are not joined by Togashi, unfortunately, but...
Can you imagine, though?
If only.
Maybe one day, right?
Maybe one day. Hey, you never know.
Never know.
Like and subscribe. Make it happen.
Yeah, help us make it happen.
So then, of course, we will be going through our community comments. If you'd like to join in the community and have your comment read, be sure to comment on the YouTube version on the weekly community posts. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to help grow our community of Hunter x Hunter fans. Additionally, if you'd like to know when new episodes are live, click the bell to enable notifications. If you're an audio listener, make sure to rate, review, and comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod, as well as Bluesky at THAPod for podcast-related updates and to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. If you'd like, you can also still email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. As always, we provided timestamps in the description if you'd like to skip ahead to any of the aforementioned segments.
Hell yeah.
News?
You're so funny.
Well,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
No news. No news.
It'd be like that. Pain, suffering.
We carry on. One day we'll get that tweet.
One day.
But we do have one page for the Battle for Owl, which, if you are uninitiated, this is a comic series. It is being done by a listener of ours named Leo Dog, where you can also check out the wiki made by Insert Name if you'd like to see old pages and extended lore.
Extended lore.
I believe
Fantastic
approved
summaries.
by Leo Dog.
I would hope so.
I hope, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this week's page coming in hot. We have a continuation last week where I had just kind of destroyed Dylan a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
I got cut open.
Yes. And we have me now panting after having ran a lot as Karapika, I think, or just some blonde person in the crowd.
There's only those two options, right? So.
Yep, that's pretty much it. He or they say, "Kaige, don't do it. It's not worth it." As my orange eyes, you can see some fire in them as I'm reflecting on the day of the Owl concert, which incited this whole event. So we're getting a flashback here. This is this classic like One Piece style, like this. Okay, this is where it's all coming together. We're gonna get the full picture now.
This is the glue.
That's right. So that day at Owl's concert, when that fight broke out, we were just happy to be there.
Aww.
As we see, look, me and Dylan locking arms or something, locking neck. I can't
like
tell.
arm over neck or something.
Yeah,
right?
like whatever
just
you want to call that.
Bros,
Yep.
bros.
As people are raging around us, I guess we still don't know what caused the fight currently. Like the larger fight, not the fight between us. I'm sure we'll get to that, but
Right.
It seems to already be a fight in the crowd happening. Unless this is just what Owl concerts are like.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. What is Owl playing?
I don't know. Yeah, he's rocking out, and that's where we end the chapter for now, or this page for now.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. I'm super excited to see, finally the amazing backstory to this whole fight.
Yeah, in retrospect, if we were to get into a fight over something as trivial as this, this would be like an adequate setup for it, I suppose. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And only me and you will ever get this, but like this gives me vibes of like the Momocon rave. If you know, you know. But it's like I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Similar vibe. It feels like right now.
Similar. Yeah. Owl concert rave.
But yeah, no, this was cool. We just got this page sent to us by Leo Dog literally like today as we were recording.
Yes, it was like hours ago. So
yeah, so still fresh in our heads. So
yes.
really cool. Can't wait to see what this flashback is more about as we get further into it.
Yes, cannot wait as always. All right, with that, I believe we're ready to talk about Togashi. You ready, Dylan?
Yep, ready as I will ever be. I can't speak today. Sorry, guys.
That's not a good start.
No, not at all. But we'll get through it.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome to a little episode here where we're just gonna talk about Togashi, Yoshihiro Togashi, our mangaka, the guy that brought the two of us here today to talk about this thing.
Yeah, when you really think about it, Togashi kind of like birthed like us in our channel, right? So
absolutely, yeah, we owe a lot to him for sure. So we're gonna, he is a mangaka, so personal life is kind of a big question mark. We know a little bit from interviews and whatnot. And also I sourced a lot of this just from like various Wikipedia articles and interviews that I read myself. So we don't got a lot, but we got stuff to talk about still. But mainly we're going to talk about his career, what he means to us, and later on what he means to others. And his impact on the world is also something I definitely want to touch on. So, starting off, born in Shinjo, Yamagata, to a family that owned a paper shop, Togashi began drawing manga casually in his first to second year of elementary school. So very early on.
I was incredibly young to start.
Yes.
Like just drawing manga in general, right? Like.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Pretty impressive, honestly.
It is, yeah. I can't imagine they were very good drawings, but you never know. Maybe they were.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess we don't know the quality of
we'll never
of
really
what he was
know,
back then, but all artists start somewhere, right? And I feel like it's very common for like artists especially to kind of just like start an interest of that nature at a very young age, right? That creativity kind of sparking initially. So
yeah,
pretty cool to see.
It's definitely a lifelong passion, which is always nice to see.
Right.
Later in high school, Togashi joined the Fine Arts Club. He later enrolled in Yamagata University, where he studied education in the hope of becoming a teacher.
That
didn't happen.
No, that didn't happen, but that's somehow like fitting at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It gives me the vibe.
He's a very wordy man, so I feel like he'd be a good teacher.
That is an English professor if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. Japanese.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, language professor, I guess.
Language, yeah, language arts. Yeah, he'd be a killer language arts teacher.
Absolutely.
During college, he submitted some of his manga work to Weekly Young Jump, published by Shueisha. In 1986, at age 20, he authored a manga titled Butobi Straight, of which he received the Tezuka Award, which is a very, if you know manga, you know the Tezuka Award. This is something that's given out to a lot of rookie artists often, which is like up-and-comers.
Right. So was that his first like official well, I guess he had other official manga work for the Weekly Young Jump, right? But this is his first like work that like actually received a proper award, right?
Yes, this was the first award he received. This is also like his first published thing in general, as far as I'm aware.
Gotcha.
There was a lot of he did doujins and things like that beforehand, like self-published works, and he'll also do more of that later, which we'll talk about. But this was like his first published thing, and it also got the Tezuka Award. So right off the bat, he's kind of hitting the ground running at 20.
Yeah, at 20, right?
Impressive.
Like the only thing kind of like similar to that of recent memory is like the Kagurabachi author, right?
Kagurabachi, he immediately came to mind. He was 19 when he started. So he's got him beat.
Crazier. Yeah, I guess Togashi got beat in that regard, but like that's still like impressive nonetheless, right?
I also think I might be misremembering this. I think Oda might have been 19 or 20 when he started One Piece. In that range at least. yeah. But I can't exactly remember how old he was.
Someone source or fact check us in the comments.
Yeah, please. Another manga by Togashi titled Jura no Mizuki was an honorable mention in Shueisha's first annual Hop Step Award selection magazine, published in 1988. So just 2 years later, he had another thing published and also nominated for an award. It didn't win this time, but after having given up his goal of becoming a teacher at some point along the way, I wish we knew more about that aspect of his life, honestly.
Yeah,
but
I wonder...
you can kind of see it. Like, manga was doing well, you know.
Right, like it could have been as simple as like, you know, manga was his true passion. You know, now that's
Right.
you know, kind of a more objectively like stable career path at that point, right? You know, he's getting better and better with each work, getting more recognizable. Maybe he just said, okay, I'll just follow my dream there. But I wish we knew for sure. That's what it reads as to be, but hard to say.
Yeah, I did. I you know, in preparing for this episode, I read a lot of Togashi interviews and stuff just on my own time to see if I could parse anything else interesting. And he really doesn't bring up, at least from what I didn't read like every interview ever made, but I read, you know, a decent amount. He doesn't really talk about his personal life a whole lot. It's kind of just the same, you know, he has like cookie cutter answers where he'll just be like, oh yeah, you know, I went to school and did this and that. And that's kind of it. Like, he doesn't give new details hardly ever.
Fair enough. Life of a mangaka, I suppose.
Yeah. So after, he gave up on the teacher thing, Togashi was contacted by an editor of Weekly Shonen Jump. How about that? During his senior year of college. He wasn't even out of collge yet. This is a very common thing for mangaka, I will say, though. A lot of them don't actually end up needing to finish college. Who asked him to move to Tokyo.
There we go.
So, he saw something in him.
Right. Very good investment, I must say.
Yes, it absolutely was. So after that point, he's a Shueisha guy. This is a Shonen Jump mangaka. His earliest published works for Shueisha included Okami Nante Kowakunai, I'm Not Afraid of the Wolf in English, which was a collection of comedic short stories. So
that's so interesting to think about when like you think of like Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter. Like he kind of his first official Shonen Jump work was a comedy series.
Also like a short story collection. Probably not too dissimilar to Level E, which we read.
Right.
But yeah, so it's interesting to see that was like his first steps. And I'm not sure what the other two that he did before this were. I assume they were also. I'm pretty sure they were also both comedy or gag manga. So that's kind of where you got to start.
Yeah, and that seemed like it was his specialty almost, though, too.
Yes.
Like, makes the transition into his further works or later works even more interesting, I feel like.
Absolutely, yeah. It's, we'll talk about it more in a second.
Right.
But, so, Weekly Shonen Jump published some of the stories prior to a tankobon or volume release in 1989. Between 1989 and 1990, Togashi authored Wicked Cupid, I'll just use the English name there, which this is his first series. Okay, this is like, here we go, we got a series, like our for real series.
Right.
And it is a comedy ecchi. So, in that, okay, comedy, right on. Ecchi, that blew my mind. I did not think Togashi was the kind of guy to do that.
There's two sides to every coin, I suppose. That's so funny.
Yeah, it really is. That really threw me for a loop because none of his other works are like that in any capacity.
Right.
So to see that was his like start, like this is foot in the sand series. It's a ecchi.
All right. Yeah, this will get people talking.
Yeah. So this ran for 32 volumes, or not 32.
Holy crap!
32
Imagine.
No, yeah, it's longer. It's just as long as Hunter x Hunter, just about. No, this is 32 chapters over 4 volumes, which involves shenanigans ensuing between a normal dude and a devil girl. That's the whole gist of it. It's apparently, I haven't read this myself, but apparently it's very inspired by Urusei Yatsura, which I have read, which is about a normal dude and an alien, so you can see the the similarities.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if it's any good. It only ran for 32 chapters. Now, whether or not that was a can, like it got axed or not, I don't know. That's not information I have handy.
Right.
But it happened. It did. I have to assume decent if you got 32 chapters because you would usually get cut shorter than that if it was a flop.
Right. I guess we don't. I'm not familiar with how the standards were like back then, though. So maybe it was different kind of standards for like when a series would get cut in the first place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's not information I have on hand either. So that's just speculation on my
Right.
part.
Yeah.
But,
It's but yeah, that's it seems interesting. I would like to read it someday just to know what it was.
Right. Yeah. It sounds interesting when you're talking about Togashi specifically, and
I
it's just
know.
funny because like you hear this little synopsis that you had there. It's just shenanigans involving a normal dude and a devil girl. There's like a billion series like that nowadays. So I
Right.
wonder how that's differentiated.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what that would be like. Maybe one day. I don't know if it's even translated. I didn't look, but it could be interesting to read. Yeah, I mean, this is one of 4, series he did in Shonen Jump, so that's a big deal.
Yeah, that was the first.
Yeah. So in 1990, Togashi hit the big time with his next series, Yu Yu Hakusho.
This is where Kaige takes over completely.
Yeah, I'll do some talking about Yu Yu Hakusho here. Based on his interest in the occult and horror films, the plot features the character Yusuke Urameshi, who is killed and brought back to life as a spirit detective. That's the general plot. The manga ran for 175 chapters over 19 volumes from 1990 to 1994, and it went on to sell over 50 million copies worldwide, earning Togashi a Shogaku... Oh boy. Shogakukan.
There you go.
Shogakukan Manga Award in 1994, right when it ended.
That was a hit, if I do say so
That
myself.
was a hit. Yes, this was a very influential series, obviously.
I have to imagine it was like one of the faces of Shonen Jump for that period of time, right? If not the
Absolutely.
face. Yeah.
Yeah, for that time, yeah, I mean, it would have been like that, and JoJo would have been the big boys. But yeah, this was huge. Absolutely massive. Obviously very inspired by Dragon Ball too. And it also took a very similar path because, Yu Yu Hakusho started as a kind of like mystery of the week sort of deal. It wasn't comedy per se like his previous works, but it was episodic in nature about just a ghost kid trying to solve like mysteries around the town involving other spirits. But over time it became a battle manga, which is a very similar trajectory of Dragon Ball, which started as a comedy and then became just people fighting each other.
Funny how that works, right? I feel like a lot of series go in that direction.
Absolutely. It's definitely part of the Jump's initiative back then. More fighting, I imagine, was being pushed a lot.
More spectacle in general.
Yeah, definitely. So, during its run, in 1992, it received a hit anime adaptation by Studio Pierrot. And, that was also wildly iconic. That opening is still very much beloved to this day. I see people talk about it all the time. Very iconic series. During the work on this, Togashi suffered from an immense amount of stress while working on the series, which caused him inconsistent sleep patterns and chest pain, which likely aided in the decision to end the series much earlier than intended.
Beginning of a curse.
Yes, Togashi has suffered these problems his whole life, but Jump wasn't as good at dealing with it back then as they are now, or as understanding, because boy howdy did they screw him over back then. This series... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say a lot of that is just due to Japanese culture in general, too, right?
Yep.
Just like, dedicate your life to work, pretty much.
Just steamroll right over your problems, whatever. Who cares?
Right.
Keep working. So this series met its unfortunate end, right in the middle of the final arc. It just kind of sped to conclusion very rapidly and abruptly.
And wasn't it like
Super
good up until that point, too? Like it was like
cooking.
Yeah.
Like this... People often say, I always say, the Three Kings arc, man, that was the making of some incredible material. Like, we're talking, like, you can root similarities to currently, like, Succession contests and stuff like that. Chimera Ant, even, I took a lot from it. But we got to see, like, maybe 25% of it told normally, and then we got, like, the last 75% just kind of shit onto the page. It's,
so sad.
It's a shame. It bums me out very often, but what we got is still a great series with a lot of heart, And I think the last chapter is still very, very, very good. I always get emotional when I read that last chapter. It's really sweet. But it was cut short, and that's very sad. And I think he was very sad about it too.
Right, because I'd imagine like Jump probably forced him to be like, hey, if you're not going to be able to, write for continuously for this, just end it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, get another series in there.
Yep, which is what happened basically. But he did take a short detour into the realm of doujinshi again, and made a small manga series called Church, which was just a self-published little thing. Was also, I think it was just like a gag anthology kind of deal.
Makes sense.
Then in 1995, he returned to publication and created Level E, which we read on the show. You can go check that episode out.
Mm-hmm.
Which was a science fiction comedy manga comprising 3 volumes. It was first published in Weekly Shonen Jump in 1995 and ran until 1996. Level E was later completely randomly adapted into an anime series in 2011 by a joint effort of Studio Pierrot and David Production, which I did not know. That's very interesting.
I still really want to watch that at some point too. Like that's so
I do too.
Bewildering to me. Why did they get randomly adapted like
in 2011?
Over a decade later, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I guess it was just hot off the presses of Hunter x Hunter 2011. They were just like, all right, let's just get something Togashi related in the pipeline.
Right. Yeah, that's so funny. But yeah, no, Level E was a really interesting series in general though, because like it was also like very much like episodic like, but it was really unique in that it kind of took on like multiple different perspectives as well, like from various characters, different stories and whatnot.
Yeah, we had the one reoccurring character of Baka Oji, but even he wasn't in every story, interestingly enough. It was just a collection of stories.
Right, and I think about it from time to time, even like since reading that, and I wonder if like part of that like approach to storytelling is something kind of translated into Hunter x Hunter, not as like as abrupt as Level E was, obviously, because that's a very short series and it kind of jumped around a lot. But Hunter x Hunter very much also jumps from kind of character to character perspective, depending on what's being told in the story and the arc. So I wonder if that kind of inspired him to some degree. I think about that sometimes.
No, yeah, I absolutely see that as the case, because I mean you can't really draw any of that from Yu Yu Hakusho, because that does very solidly just follow Yusuke the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But Level E, yeah, you can definitely source like the cutting between different lead protagonists and such. You can trace that back to Level E very easily. So there's definitely something to be said about that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Togashi's next endeavor began in 1998, and I think we all know it well. Of course, this was Hunter x Hunter. The big boy.
The big boy.
Of course, it was a smash hit, having over 84 million copies in circulation as of July 2022, which,
insane.
As of numbers, like that is when the previous volume came out. So we don't know updated with volume 38 where sales are at, but that's in that ballpark probably.
Yeah, it's still a massive number regardless. Very popular to this day, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, nearly doubling Yu Yu Hakusho's lifetime sales. Studio Pierrot, the studio that did the Yu Yu Hakusho anime, did a anime adaptation pilot for Hunter x Hunter, which was just one episode doing chapter 1, which I've seen before. It's been a while since I watched it. I don't really remember it too well. But ultimately, obviously, they didn't pick up the project, which is very interesting. I don't know why they didn't.
Huh. I wonder who made that decision in the first place. Like,
I don't know. I guess, I mean, this is also, well, no, I mean, Naruto hadn't started yet, because Pierrot will go on to do Naruto in the future, but they wouldn't have known about it yet.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know why they passed that up. It's really weird.
It's a really interesting what if to think about now, though.
It is.
That could have domino affected a lot of different other projects, depending on how popular that got. So
yeah, I'd be really curious to see an alternate timeline where that happened.
Yeah, same.
But it didn't. Then in 1999, Nippon Animation took on the task of creating the first anime adaptation, which me and Dylan are currently watching.
Yeah, we have a bunch of episodes on that if you want to, watch with us. Still ongoing.
That's right. Throughout the series and then later the OVAs, this adaptation lasted up until the end of Greed Island, where it lay dormant forever. That's all like the farther it got.
It's like the that image or like meme of like the guy like mining through the ground and like he stops right before he reaches diamonds.
Yeah, actually though, man, if only they knew.
Now that's a what if I like to think about too, like 99's version of Chimera Ant. Oh man.
I'm sure that's something we'll definitely talk about once we actually finish the series. We'll probably have a lot to say about that.
For sure.
But then, of course, in 2011, Madhouse gave us a new adaptation that we all know and love that covered the story up until the current material at the time. It literally adapted the newest chapter whenever it came out, and has been inactive since. So this was obviously, going atop the world tree, and that's where we ended off. It's also received 2 movies, which are both masterpieces.
Yeah. Great movies. Everyone should watch them for themselves.
Yep. You can check out our episodes on those as well, where you can see us praise them for 2 hours straight.
Yeah, there's no bad words about them said at all. It was It was a great time.
Yeah. Straight glazing. And Hunter x Hunter. that's the Hunter x Hunter section. So obviously we have a thing or two to say about Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, well, what haven't we said about Hunter x Hunter
exactly
on this podcast? That's kind of the issue.
That's the thing. So obviously we love it dearly. This is an incredibly impactful series to both of us and also the world and the industry, as well as Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, and this is kind of just like the pinnacle of just like Togashi's like practice of storytelling and art in general up until this point. So I think everything kind of culminated with the series for obvious reasons. And you can see there's comparisons all the time with like Yu Yu Hakusho specifically, right? How that's kind of like its predecessor. But I feel like there's something you could maybe pull from like all of his series prior to this that just kind of culminated in this ginormous hit that it is today.
Yep, it's it is an often said quote that Hunter x Hunter is Togashi's sandbox, and that is absolutely true. I'm a ride or die for that statement because it's so true. Like it's just he does what he wants to do at any given moment. He just rides the whims of his mind and just he writes it down, draws it, puts it to paper, and sends it our way. It's truly a beautiful thing he's created here, and I love it so much for that reason.
Absolutely, yeah. There's never a time where I'm not excited for a Hunter x Hunter chapter whenever that gets revived, So, yeah. I don't know. There's not really a lot more I can say about it. I love Hunter x Hunter, and
it's Hunter x Hunter, yeah. And obviously, he's still technically doing this to this day, just off and on, as we are all very aware of.
Yeah. No updates for like half a year though, over half a year. Yeah. So it's Who knows what he's up to now?
Who could say? So later in 2017, and this is when doing research for this video, this is the first time I learned about this. He wrote a 2-chapter manga, Akuten Wars. He did not draw it, but he wrote it.
Oh.
It was illustrated by Hachi Mizuno, and it was published in the September and November issues of Grand Jump Premium.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know anything about this. I just found out about it this week, but I'm really interested to see something that he just wrote. I'm actually incredibly curious about this, and I want to see if I can check this out.
And that's particularly interesting to me, and I'm sure many others as well, because as people like to suggest to happen for Hunter x Hunter to continue on a steady path, so many people suggest that, like Togashi just write Hunter x Hunter and he doesn't do like the illustrations necessarily because of, his various like issues and injuries and stuff over the years, right? But like that, so that's interesting that he did kind of do something like that for a separate project altogether. I didn't know that.
It honestly, like, I don't want to get too speculative, but it makes you wonder if he was like kind of testing the waters with it.
Right, it's hard to say because it's only a 2-chapter manga, right? It wasn't like it was a ton of work or like a big collaborative project. Kind of just a small thing,
right?
All things considered, but yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that he actually did something like that. I'm sure many others don't know that as well. So that's really cool to learn that today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very curious to check that out. Maybe if we can find a good translation, maybe that could be an episode one day.
Yeah, maybe
be
if
interesting.
Manga Dex gets revived, you know.
Yeah, rip manga decks.
Yeah, maybe a future episode on that if you guys are interested.
Yeah. So that's his career, really. That's the highlights. He did not many in number, but definitely in quality. Obviously, we have Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter, which are some of the most influential series of all time. Level E, we love.
Yep.
It's not influential, but
No.
it's but it's good. I
Yeah,
really
it
like
was
Level
good. It was good for what it was, right? So.
E. Yeah. So we'll talk about a little bit more about his personal life. Obviously, we have to talk about his wife, Naoko Takeuchi, who is the mangaka of Sailor Moon. This is anytime anybody ever mentions Togashi, this is probably the first thing that comes to anybody's mind. I have heard this said nearly millions of times, I'm sure.
Uncountable amount of times. Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, that is a very famous couple, obviously, power couple. Hell yeah. The two were introduced at a party house by Kazushi Hagiwara, the mangaka of Bastard, in August 1997. So, yeah.
There you go.
Cool little meeting. The following year, Takeuchi assisted Togashi for a short time by adding screen tone to Hunter x Hunter, which I did not know about, actually.
Oh, wow. That's really cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Togashi and Takeuchi got married on January 6th, 1999. So very quick turnaround, honestly.
Yeah, whoa. They just fell in love, didn't they?
They did, and they're still together today. So must be good. In attendance for the ceremony, the wedding in this case, were several fellow manga artists and voice actors from both the Sailor Moon and Yu Yu Hakusho anime series, which is really sweet.
Aw.
They have 2 children, names unknown. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, that's very good, actually.
Yes, that's kind of awesome. And have collaborated on a children's book titled Obo nu Tochibo nu, which is cool. I don't know anything about it, but it's cool that the 2 of them wrote a children's book together.
Yeah.
I assume it was probably to read to their own kids, which is really sweet.
That's so sweet.
Which Takeuchi wrote and Togashi illustrated. So there you go.
See, Togashi doesn't always draw just like horrifying beasts in his
Yeah,
books, right?
he can draw wholesome things. And in present day, on a much sadder note, Togashi continues to struggle with his health and his back primarily. New chapters of Hunter x Hunter are usually released in batches of 10 every few years alongside a new volume release. And that's where we're at now with Togashi.
Yep, waiting 6 months-ish strong now, right? A little more than that, actually, I think.
Yeah, since the
Quite
last
sad.
batch.
Yeah, this has been an ongoing issue for years and years and years at this point, obviously. I think
Yeah, so
everybody
this
who's a fan of Hunter x Hunter knows about these issues. And
Yes, this
it's
is nothing
sad.
new.
Yeah. And that's what's sad about it, though. Like, it's nothing new. This has been an ongoing thing for ages now, and we don't know if it'll ever get better. And that's sad to think about. But obviously, wish Togashi all the best in his recovery for this. That health always comes first, right?
Yeah, that's all that matters. I love his work, and clearly he does too. But he's got to take care of himself, and he knows that. Clearly, he's not pushing himself. He's doing what he can. Well, the last batch he definitely was pushing.
He kind of definitely those comments he was making about I'm planning all the way to like 450 or whatever. Like, oh my gosh. Like,
and he'd still be like, "Oh, my whole body is in pain. I'm in hell. Kill me now." And he's like, "Here's this little drawing of Gon I did." Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, here's these updates on Twitter that you can see like a drawn thing of Hisoka that hasn't came up since that was posted. Like, what is he cooking?
Yeah. So Togashi, we love him. I hope he's taking care of himself right now. It's sad. I want him. And it's also, you can see it from a creative point of view. He wants to tell this story so bad, and that's what makes it also so sad that he just can't. But he's trying his damnedest.
It reads a lot to me like he wants to do whatever is in his power to not have another Yu Yu Hakusho incident.
Yeah.
That would be very sad, obviously, for a lot of people. For Hunter to go out like that. So clearly taking his time, and he clearly wants to tell the story, like you said. But it's just a matter of being patient, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and it's you know, he gets a lot of flack for his approach to this, and flack maybe isn't the best way to phrase it. People are worried about him, and they always suggest the whole like, yeah, just write it and have somebody else draw it. But I'm always hesitant to support that view because it's like, yes, that would probably be the right thing to do health-wise, but to be a creative is not something that either of us can really understand, especially on this scale. And to have your life's work that you've been working on for like 20 years, 20 more than that, like 26, 27,
something like that. Yeah.
God damn.
Crazy.
As
right?
long as One Piece, but the series is not as long as One Piece.
No,
Obviously,
not even
it
half.
probably could be, but it's something that we can't understand because we don't have that bone in our bodies.
And I'd have to imagine as well that a lot of the creativity and just like the on the fly storytelling that would need to be involved for something like this probably comes from just like the drawing and the designing of all these environments and characters in of itself, right? Like I'm sure tons of storytelling inspiration comes from just drawing in general, right? And Togashi's whole work just kind of reads that way to me, where like he draws whatever he sees his mind fit to draw, and like stories just kind of appear out of thin air almost from those designs. Because art just tells a story in general, regardless of words, right? So, I don't know. Maybe it's something along those lines from a creative standpoint as well. Why that approach may not work, for Togashi specifically, and why he very obviously isn't going along with that idea.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's that art connection. He's got to be the one to tell this story, and even, you could be like, oh, well, he still is telling the story if he's writing it. It's more than that to him. He needs to pen every detail. Mm-hmm. Like you'll see, even when new chapters come out, obviously he has assistants. His assistants do a lot of work. Yeah. But you'll see very clear instances of him going out of his way to draw backgrounds and things that he does not need to be drawing or taking his time to do, because that's just the kind of artist he is. He is very meticulous. He wants this done his way, and he's not going to have it done by anyone else. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
And I think that is so respectable, truthfully. It hurts me to see him hurt himself to make it happen, but it's at the same time it's beautiful, honestly. Like it's inspiring to see how much this man cares about this story. It's
pretty much his life's work, right? So like I completely understand not wanting to just hand that off to anybody, Finish it on your own terms, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, wishing you the best, Togashi. We love you.
Yep, sure do.
So, before we talk a little bit more about him on a larger scale, I want to go over some little bit of fun facts here I gathered together from interviews and such. Not a whole lot. The first one we've already talked about in the past, but yeah, you got to mention this one.
You got to mention it.
In the 1999 anime adaptation, he voiced the rock climbing hunter who gets, carried away by these weird bird things on Trick Tower.
Yeah, very funny scene.
Yes, it is.
And you get to hear Togashi scream. So
yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, go check out that scene if you haven't already. I think it's really funny.
It is. I love that. I just love that happened. It's so cool. Another one that I did not know about somehow, which is really neat. He endorsed Demon Slayer in 2016 with the release of its 4th volume. So that was, you can probably give some of the credit to Demon Slayer's success as just having that Togashi approval stamp right on the front of volume 4. That's a huge deal.
That's awesome for sure. Be careful! Don't let the Demon Slayer haters out there hear you. They're
yeah.
Me and Kaige have opinions on those kind of people, but it is what it is. Togashi endorsing that I think makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense.
I don't think the stories are that like similar in structure or anything, but I think art-wise especially, like, I mean, obviously Demon Slayer is still talked about to this day with how like beautiful some of those panels are, right? So to hear Togashi be like endorsing that kind of work in particular, I'm sure helped boost it even more so than the popularity it already got at that point.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. He is cited, and this, I mean, I wouldn't even need to tell you this for you guys to know about this, but he is cited as being one of the favorite artists and biggest inspirations to Naruto artist author Masashi Kishimoto, and Tokyo Ghoul author Sui Ishida. Now, obviously, Ishida has done a Hunter x Hunter series or story.
Yeah, one off or one shot. One shot. That's the term.
Yeah. And Naruto basically was Hunter x Hunter for a while. So
pre-Shippuden, right? If I'm okay.
Just the earliest. I mean, we literally have there's an exam arc. That's
right.
the Hunter. It's the same ass shit.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right. I love Naruto. Don't get me wrong. And then finally, this was the sweetest fun fact that I could find. So way back, I mentioned his family owned a paper store. This paper store still exists. His mother still runs it, and she welcomes fans and sells limited edition Togashi goods.
That is so sweet.
That is so sweet. I love that. I want to go to that store so badly. I want to meet Togashi's mom. That is so sweet.
That is beautifully supportive. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's just I love that so much. That was such a cute detail.
Yeah, well, if you're ever in the Shinjo Yamagata region in Japan, I guess go check out Togashi Paper Store.
Yes, please do.
That's so cool. I didn't know.
I know. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about Togashi, as you know, in terms of just hard facts and stuff. But the man himself, I mean, we can talk a lot about how the fact that his series exists is why the two of us are sitting here right now talking to all of you. That's a big deal. He, this series, beyond even just this podcast and the two of us, has brought so many people together. So many people together here with us. Also, we have a wonderful community here that we've built up over this almost year now.
Yeah, can you guys believe that? By the way, holy.
Yeah, coming up on a year.
But yeah, no, he is the reason that a lot of us are here talking about the series in the first place. I mean, he's the author of the series. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? But like, you got to really think about just like how much of an impact his storytelling and art in general is kind of like made on all of us as a community as well. And I'm sure it's kind of like even like sculpted some of our like traits and characteristics to this day just from our like experiencing his stories in general. I think about that all the time whenever I interact with like one of my favorite like pieces of media or whatever, right? And Togashi's Hunter x Hunter is absolutely no exception to that. So many memories just back in like high school when I was watching this for the first time and talking with like Kaige and other friends also and getting them into Hunter x Hunter and experiencing all these moments with them. And I'm kind of rambling at this point, but you get the point, right? Togashi's impact on our lives cannot be understated here.
Absolutely, yeah. He's just, and also in the world as a whole, the industry, his work has inspired so many people. Like even beyond the two we just mentioned, Ishida and Kishimoto, you'll find so many other mangaka cite him as like one of the biggest inspirations.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to see why. I mean, this man has such a deep love for what he does that I think people often overlook. I remember, this has kind of died out over time, but I remember back a few years ago, probably, maybe when 2011 was airing or something like that, a big meme in the community was always like, oh, Togashi's too busy playing Dragon Quest or writing his manga.
Yep.
And that is like such horseshit and not true at all. Like he was playing Dragon Quest probably because that's all he could really do with his awfully fucked up body.
Right, yeah.
This is not, he wasn't slacking. He wants to tell this story more than anyone. You'll see, the character Dwoon from the end of Greed Island is obviously a self-parody of himself, which is this complete slob, is just playing video games all day, room's a mess. And like it's a very direct and clear look at how he views himself. And to have people now online being like, well, not now. This is a long time ago, thankfully. But people just being like, oh, this lazy asshole just plays Dragon Quest all day. Man, it's so clear he has like self-esteem problems because of exactly that. It's not his fault. He's
No.
trying. He's
And
trying so hard.
to give the benefit of the doubt, I feel like that was also during a time period where like his health issues weren't as publicized as they are now.
Correct.
So, obviously I think with that coming more to light over recent years, people are kind of, taking it easy on that kind of on those takes and whatnot, right? Or they were just misinformed to begin with, probably.
Right.
But yeah, that was such a sad period of time to live through, though. Like, I kind of partook in a lot of that kind of like meaning too. Yeah. Without even really knowing the context. And like, it's just awful looking back.
Yeah, it's sad to look back. And it does make me happy that people have kind of moved on from that. I still see it every once in a while, but I just take it that those are like uninformed people or whatever. Just people that are stuck in 2011. I don't know. But, Togashi is just such an admirable guy. It can't be stated enough. Like, he is just such an incredible soul, a wonderful person, a wonderful writer and artist. I could talk endlessly about his writing and art style. It is so unique and something that you don't really see replicated often.
Yeah.
Namely his writing. I mean, his art, there's definitely Togashi imitators. Nobody can do it like Togashi does, first of all. But his writing, man, nobody in the game does it like Togashi. It is so particular, unique, and just excellently crafted. You'll be hard pressed to ever find a writer do anything close to the level of what he's been putting out in Hunter x Hunter specifically.
No, definitely not. And obviously there are tons of works that are inspired by his writing. They take inspiration or take attributes from his writing. One of the more recent examples I could think of that was outright stated by the author, Kaige, is JJK.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
It's story. You can definitely see within that story's writing. It was heavily inspired by Hunter x Hunter. The approach he took for, or a lot of parts of that story, right? Doesn't come close though to the quality of like how Togashi executes in Hunter x Hunter. And that's not a shade on JJK. I still really love JJK as a series. That's a testament for how fantastic of a writer Togashi is.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, same here. I love JJK a lot, but it doesn't even hold a candle to Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about Togashi for the time being. I'm sure we'll have more to say in response to you guys' comments, but thank you, Togashi, for everything you do. We love you. I'm sure you listen to this, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's.
Is his favorite show? I know he's always commenting. Maybe is Togashi
podcast.
Insert name?
Ooh, now wouldn't that
Think
be a
about
plot
that.
twist? Yeah.
Think about that.
Do we know that he's Togashi and we're just fooling all of you?
Think on that one, guys. All right, we ready to see community comments?
Not until we will go into community comments,
yes.
but we do have a little treat for this episode in particular. If you want to kick that off, Cage.
Yes, thank you, Don. I almost forgot. I should have put that in the script, so I didn't forget, but alas. Okay, so yeah, we have reached out to previous guests of the series of our show, not whatever else Hunter x Hunter guests. I don't know what else that would be, but to see if they wanted to submit a little message about Togashi, just a little statement, or just talk about what they mean to him, their stories about him. Whatever, his work, how it impacted their lives. So right after I finish talking here, I don't know as of this moment who has submitted the videos to me, so I can't just be like, oh, here's so and so. But they will introduce themselves at the beginning of the clips, so you'll hear them if you're listening on audio platforms, and if you're on YouTube, you'll see them if they submitted a video. And yeah, just have a listen to what all of these wonderful people had to say. And the people who didn't, if you see a guest not on here, there's no beef. It's just we literally thought of this idea yesterday, so it's not. I was not expecting a lot of people to very, very short notice, but we did get some people at least. I just can't confidently say how many right now, but But, yeah, check those out, and we'll see you guys in community comments after that's all done rolling.
Yeah, we will see you there.
Hey guys, Dan the Man here. I am currently at an Airbnb at Lake Tahoe, so I am also either sick or have really bad allergies right now. So if my throat is not doing great, and I'm not doing great physically. But anyways, and I'm pretty sunburned. But yeah, still wanted to come and try to make this video on Togashi. You know, Togashi, he truly is one of the most amazing, I think, creators, obviously manga and really just fiction in general. He is pretty much perfect at weaving, a complex story with characters, deep character development, and just character depth in general. And I think for most people, I think the complexity and characters are what drives most people to read or watch, or enjoy specifically Hunter x Hunter. But Yu Yu Hakusho is also a very beloved series as well, which is one of the OGs that kind of boosted shonen stuff upwards, along with Dragon Ball Z and everything. So he's definitely up there as one of the greats, and it's clear that the poor man needs to rest, not permanently, but at least temporarily, until he's back at it and can do another chapter. But anyways, that's all I got right now. So yeah, see ya.
Hey everyone and Hunter Association. What can I say about Togashi? Well, a great deal of my experience with Togashi is just through his writing and character designs and stuff, through the Hunter x Hunter anime and Lovely, of course. If you true fans may remember my appearance on that episode. But no, I think he really is unparalleled as a writer and a world builder. He makes everything just seem so effortless. You truly never know, like, page to page, arc to arc, like what's gonna happen next. And I feel like you can truly say that about very few artists and authors. He just builds these worlds and these powers, and yeah, you might have to do a little bit of homework and flashcards or something to remember everything that's going on, but it's truly worth it, and it never feels forced. I mean, the more we get into the succession contest, the more I'm just like, please, just more and more. I've never had an author where I'm just willing to put in the legwork and fully invest myself in the world. And I think he, of course, it's a shonen battle series, but it's so unparalleled in how it's executed. Speaking on Hunter x Hunter, of course, and I just think the way he mixes comedy and seriousness, again, like that vibe shift, like you just never know what's gonna happen, how you should feel at any given moment. And I mean, I gotta say, I mean, Hunter x Hunter is one of the best. Togashi's one of the best to do it. So keep kicking it, man. Hopefully you can write some more, and I'll show up in that new episode.
Hey, thank you very much to the Hunter Association for asking me to do this. And if I had to say anything about my man, Yoshihiro Togashi, as someone that didn't really get into Hunter x Hunter until about a year or two ago, and I'm just about 28 now for point of reference in time, I always knew that Hunter x Hunter was this big thing that I was missing out on, and I was actually stopping myself from reading because of how generational I knew it would be for me. From everything that everybody told me, it always seemed like it would be such a fun series, and it was right up my alley, and I just knew that it wasn't over. I knew it might not get an ending, and I stopped myself, and I finally bit into it last year, and I have to say that in such a short amount of time, it has become one of the most inspirational series to me when it comes to my own writing, my own imagination, and some of the different videos and content that I do make personally. Because as someone that is really into really lengthy, really long-winded explanations, I really like to read really in-depth strategy and battle intelligence. And like, to give you an idea, like the moment of Pito and Netero meeting in the beginning of the Chimera Ant invasion is like one of my top 5, top 10 favorite scenes in anime manga of all time, just because it is everything that I love packed into one thing. And Togashi as a whole was able to make me fall in love with the series as if I was a 13-year-old again, as a 27-year-old man. And that is something that not many authors are able to do. So I just have to say that as someone that now knows why it has so much love and amazing hype in the community for the series, even if the series never gets an ending, I'm happy to have gone on the journey. I'm happy to have experienced it. And there's not too many stories that would make me be able to say that. So I gotta say, yeah, Togashi is just amazing. And there aren't too many authors that are willing to risk their story not being completed just to make sure that its integrity isn't tarnished at all. And I have nothing but respect for a writer like that, regardless of all of the hate, all of the criticism that he gets from people that will never understand how much this creation means to him, telling him that he should just let someone else finish it, or telling him that he should just, pass it on or end it early, and he refuses to. That is a level of stubbornness that I hope to achieve one day in my own creative endeavors. So yeah, thank you again, the Hunter Association, for asking me to do this, and much love to Yoshihiro Togashi. Always and will forever remain as a important piece in my creative journey, even though it came so late in my life. I guarantee you, it's not an inspiration or an impact that will fade anytime soon.
Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed those thoughts from our former guests on the podcast. Go check out their various socials and channels if you haven't already, obviously. But now it's time to dive into what you guys have to say about our favorite author, Togashi. So as a usual reminder, if you want to keep up with what these prompts are week to week and want to get in on the fun, make sure you check out our YouTube community posts on the YouTube channel, as well as keep an eye out for the call-out posts on our Twitter and Bluesky accounts. And of course, if you're an audio-only listener and you don't have access to social media for whatever reason, you can always email us your thoughts at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. So, today, we don't have any Bluesky posts, unfortunately. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We have plenty of Twitter posts, though, and a good amount of YouTube posts as well to go through today. And we're going to get through all of them, so buckle in. First up, we have a two-parter here from Mermaid Queen Ariel on Twitter, saying, I became a fan of him through his relationship with Takeuchi. Something about him bagging a total baddie. Have you seen her model pics? No, I haven't, actually.
I have not.
Oh, man, what am I going to find if I search that, though? That's interesting. and then telling him, get your shit together and marry me or I'm out. And him going, I can't do better, and marrying her. Really endeared me to him. And her helping him with inking and other parts of his process is really sweet. Also, I feel like you could see how they influence each other in their works. Like some Chimera ants totally look like they could be Sailor Moon monsters, IMO.
I've not read Sailor Moon, unfortunately, so I can't really comment on this, but
yeah,
it's high on my list. I have to get around to it. I want to read it very badly.
I mean, I've only heard good things about Sailor Moon. It's a very loved series, right? So, yeah, I'm kind of sad that I can't really comment on that further, since I've also haven't, experienced Sailor Moon in any regard. But, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that some of these Chimera ants will look like Sailor Moon monsters. And hey, maybe, Kaige, whenever you get around to that, if you're wanting to get to it anytime soon, that's something to keep an eye out for. Any inspirations, I guess, from Togashi's work. I think that'd be
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, I think his relationship with Takeuchi and Sailor just being linked to Sailor Moon in general probably introduced a lot of people to him, right? Similarly how I pretty much got introduced to Sailor Moon as a concept from Togashi's side, right? Knowing his work and knowing that he got, married to the author of Sailor Moon. So
yeah, and I didn't talk about it a whole lot, but anytime you do see those two talk to each other, on record or any cooperative interviews they've done together, they are just so funny together. That's a very sweet couple. They have a great energy. I love it.
That's how you know they're in love.
Absolutely. Next up comes from Zigzagunin, who says, I love the way Togashi does horror. He has a simple style, but when something terrible is happening, some of the detail is fantastic.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely true. That's what makes his horror stuff so effective, is because of his, at least in recent years, I will say this is not a consistent thing really, but in recent years, his very simplistic art style. Actually, that's not even true. Actually, lately he's kind of gone back to being more detailed, but I guess for a while, I will say Greed Island to most of Chimera Ant, definitely more of a Togashi light style, we'll say. More
Aside from like
simplified.
very specific panels, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes those kind of panels more effective, is because of the contrast from the simple art style to now hyper detail. And the examples you show here are, key examples of that. That Hisoka face, obviously one of the earliest examples of such in that series. And yeah, quite creepy.
Quite creepy, yeah. And even in in the recent arc, right? Recent chapters, you see that a lot with like Morena, obviously, as you show here. The various Den beasts as well. Those are very hyper realistic drawings for the most part whenever they're on the page. So yeah. Something he definitely continues as he does his work, right? So it's something I always appreciate about him as well.
And in Level E as well, there's some really good horror stuff in there too.
Oh yeah, for sure. For it being a comedy series too, that's what makes it even better. Like you just have these terrifying drawings occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for the comment.
Yes.
Next up, we have a two-parter that we'll be splitting between me and Cage reading from Terror of Talos on Twitter, saying, I'll start off by simply stating he's one of the GOATs in the manga medium. Absolutely, no question about it. It's really cool to me how he initially wanted to become a teacher, but then decided to take a chance and find success in what he's truly passionate about. That's right. Of course, he knew what kind of tasks lay ahead of him, and that success wouldn't be a guarantee. One could say this shows in his post-one-shot and pre-Yu Yu Hakusho series, Cupid, which honestly seemed like a test for himself of what he could and couldn't do for a longer-term serialization, or at least do in a way that felt authentic, that being a romantic comedy, lol. If I recall, he felt it would be easiest to write, but also wasn't a genre he really wanted to pursue when writing. So instead, he found the best balance between what people would want to read in the magazine and interests of his own regarding topics and themes. The rest is history. That's so interesting. I'm going to take your word for that too, because I know nothing about Cupid, right?
I should have. Whenever I was looking at interviews and stuff, I kind of just stuck to Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter focused interviews. But man, I should have looked into interviews from the era where he did Wicked Cupid and stuff like that. That should have. I don't know why that didn't cross my mind, but I believe you. That does sound like the thought process he would have had.
Yeah, just maximizing his chances at success really there. And then dang, all the respect in the world to that, Togashi.
Yeah.
Now, based on his work, some could assume he's misanthropic. Is that how you say that? I don't even know.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, well, pat in the back for that one. Cynical or pessimistic, though. To be honest, him leaning a bit towards a pessimist wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me either. Have you seen the Dune in Hunter x Hunter? Like that is the most like pessimistic version of himself that he drew there.
Yeah.
But from what I gather, based on his relationships and public information, this doesn't seem to be the case. I'd say he's more of a realist and seems to understand both the harshness and benefits of life. He's just skeptical of how societies are run in the way they are and the motivations behind certain human actions. And I would say that shines through a lot of his Hunter x Hunter writing specifically, right? That's a very common thematic that's shown in a lot of different characters through one way or another.
Yeah, and I was exactly what you said is before you even said it in the sentence. I was thinking, Togashi's more of a realist than anything. He's just he focuses in on the harsher aspects of reality for sure, but just because they're harsh doesn't mean they're not real, and you can say that's pessimism by honing in on that for the most part, but it's also, he's just being realistic, like this is the way the world is, and he doesn't like it. He's very clear. He does not like how the world functions at this current time. That is something that is very apparent in a lot of interviews he's done. And it's also very apparent in his work. Very, very apparent in his work, especially lately. Yeah. Morena, it's a very clear example of, honestly, Morena, entire character is kind of a response to the way the world is going and is currently.
Yeah, like Morena's whole design philosophy is just very, very intentional, I think, for who Togashi is as a person, how he sees the world, and also just like kind of the world as it is now, right? How he views it almost. That's how I read it anyways, obviously.
Yeah,
to interpretation.
personally. Yeah, I mean, it's art. You can interpret however you want, but that's definitely, I think we're both in agreement on that one at least. So Terror of Talos continues, Togashi is also someone who takes pride in what he creates. The desire for ownership and control of his creations seem quite important to him. Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but this most likely led to the opportunity for him to own the entire copyright of Hunter x Hunter before publishing. Yes, I'll talk about that in a second. Though this likely happened mainly because Shueisha wasn't expecting another Yu Yu Hakusho level success from him again, and especially not an even bigger success. So yeah, this is basically this opportunity that was given to him by Shueisha. A lot of people, the exact reasons aren't really known, but a lot of people attribute this to how Yu Yu Hakusho was treated near the end of its lifespan. They kind of wanted to make it up to him, so they gave him basically just like, do whatever you want. Like, here you go, man. You got it. Just go. So no matter what happened, Hunter x Hunter would have continued even if it was a flop. Like, it goes and goes and goes, probably. Like, he could have done whatever the hell he wanted. They would have published it. Whatever.
That's fascinating to think about, right?
It's very interesting. I don't know the full legality of it because I'm not like a lawyer or anything, but that's the way I understand it, is basically he just had full reign.
Man.
And still does.
How about that?
Yeah. So overall, even though none of us know him personally, it's pretty clear that he's very grateful for what he's done. The position he's in, health issues aside, of course, and the fans of his work. The multiple tweets he's made over the last several months just cement this. Speaking of which, everyone is still eagerly awaiting his next one to drop. Man, I really hope he's doing well. Us too.
Yeah. One day, it's going to be a magical day when I wake up one morning and I see that notification from that account hit on Twitter, and me and Cage will probably freak out the entire day when that happens. So.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for that day.
I'm going to be at the one to break the news to Cage, too. He's not on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, I'm not even on Twitter.
I'll await that text from me. Probably, like, keyboard smashing the entire time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're all eagerly anticipating another update from him and hope that he's doing well.
Yes.
All right, next up we have we have something from Goku versus Boruto with the @Goku versus Naruto.
Yeah, I was gonna say he changed his mind on who Goku was fighting, I guess.
That's so funny. Anyways, Goku versus Boruto says, he's a great mangaka, and I hope he gets better soon so we can get more Hunter x Hunter. I don't know much about his personal life. Well, I hope he learns some more from this episode.
Yeah, there's not a lot to know, just because he's a mangaka, but, you know.
Yeah.
We got a little bit.
Yeah. We got as much as we could for this episode. So, yeah, thank you for writing in.
And moving on to YouTube comments now, we are starting off with Leo Dog, our boy.
Our resident comic author.
That's right. Says, after his big hit, Yu Yu Hakusho, which I started watching recently, nice, I think he earned the freedom to take his next story in an experimental direction. Hunter x Hunter is really cool for that. It does things you don't usually see in other action/adventure stories, even outside of manga. I'd like to learn more about Togashi, so I'm looking forward to this episode. You guys should get him on as a special guest. Yeah.
Only you guys can make it happen.
That's right. Keep liking, keep commenting, keep subscribing, and one day we'll get Togashi on the show.
Yeah, ring that bell, too, while you're at it.
Yeah, ring that bell. He seems like an overthinker in a good way, mostly. Yeah. You can tell he really cares about his stories. I mean, he won't even let other people draw for him. I want to say I've heard some people call him stubborn for that, but there's a lot more than just designs that would change if someone else drew the series.
We were talking about that.
Yeah. Exactly. And I actually want to hear you talk about this more because you are an artist, Leo Dog. The page compositions, shot choices, character acting and expressions, general vibe, and way more stuff that changes when someone else draws. Changing the art would be changing the way the story is told. So I'm
Yes.
glad he persists on drawing. He's really dedicated. Absolutely. Beautifully said.
Like, think about, like, just as an example for what we're talking about here. Spoilers for Succession War, I guess, if you're not caught up with that. But the shot of, you know, when they were when Fugetsu and Kacho were trying to escape the boat, right? And that beautiful 2-page spread of Melody playing the flute, right, with all the flowers and stuff in the background. Such an evocative panel, just in general, right, from Togashi. Imagine if that was drawn by somebody else. Would that have the same feeling as that panel, you know, would give otherwise? I don't think it would. I think that would kind of change the entire vibe of that moment, right? It might not be as like beautifully like surreal as it comes off there from Togashi's drawing specifically.
Yeah, it's you can just feel the love and care that he puts into his drawings, and that's so important for getting this story told in the correct way.
Absolutely.
He's really good at simplifying things into a manga style too, which is low-key really hard. I'll have to take your word on that. I imagine it would be, but I'm not an artist. Thanks, Togashi, bro, for putting that pen to paper and making a story that a lot of hearts can be touched by, and it's pretty funny too, even when it's not trying to be. Yeah, Togashi is a pretty funny guy. He has his comedy style is really dry, but I think that's why it's so funny. It's just like it's very like it is what it is kind of humor. It's just like there's
like
this
dry
thing
isn't
happening.
the right word, but like
it's like it's very matter of fact. It's just like this thing is happening, and I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, like self-aware isn't even the right word either.
Yeah, just read Level E and you'll have you'll come to some word to describe it.
It's a very unique comedic way of things, but yeah, very unique all around.
Yes, thank you, Leo Dog. I was really looking forward to reading yours because you are an artist. And that's a valuable view to have.
Very insightful, for sure. Thank you. Next up, we have a comment from Imperial Squirrel saying, "Ain't got much to say except dude's a genius storyteller and some of his drawings are simply mesmerizing."
So true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Think back to some of the greatest panels in Hunter x Hunter, and you know you're also thinking about some of the greatest manga panels ever drawn. So that's Togashi for you.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
Next up, we have Dubs Salamander. Says, I wish him the best with his health, because obviously that's the most important thing, but I also wish he would give an update on the chapters that were more or less completed. Yeah, this is something we haven't talked about this a whole lot in recent months, but he is sitting on like basically 10 to 15 chapters that are more or less done. They just need to be edited, which is very interesting. I don't really know what is happening there.
The only thing I can think of is that like maybe there's some small things that like he actually wants to make changes to, and so that's kind of what's holding it up. Yeah. Or even more speculative theory, maybe he wants to get to like 20-ish chapters so that it's like kind of like a double batch next time chapters are out. Maybe. That could be a thing. I don't. That'd be more of Jump's side to determine, I suppose. But now, not that might happen anytime soon either. Well, there's a couple of series about to be kicked out of Jump now, I guess. But they'll have to make room for Hunter x Hunter eventually, I suppose. And I mean, they will regardless whenever it's time to come back.
They will.
But, factors have to line up for that. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious too because he is pretty much sitting on completed chapters as far as we are aware.
Yeah, as far as it was communicated to us, that is what we are led to believe.
So. Who knows, though? Only time will tell.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Next up, we have from 187 Blackheart saying he's a genius. Either that, or he has to gather up a certain amount of souls to get the info necessary for the next few chapters, and the cosmic entities just keep getting more greedy.
That could be it.
You know, you might be onto something here. We haven't considered this. I don't think.
Yeah, that's a good perspective to have.
But no, he is in fact a genius, and he is just that good.
Yes. He is just that good. Next up, we have the return of Page Max. A long time.
Coming. Whoa.
Yeah. He says, a very matter of fact, I'm an atheist, but he is a god.
Amen.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cage Max.
Welcome back, also.
Yes, welcome back.
All right, next up is a bit of a long one, but we'll be splitting between me and Cage once again. From Fillard Millmore, saying this one is long again. Sad face. Don't be sad.
Sad
It's okay.
face. Don't be sad. It's okay.
We got you. He seems like a neat dude. I'm glad that when it comes to enjoying Hunter x Hunter, there is no need to separate art from the artist, and his personality and intent as the creator is embraced by fans.
Amen.
Yeah, amen for sure. Very normal fan base aside from like a couple like weird people out there, but
Yeah, they're out
you'll
there.
have that for any community.
Yep.
This is certainly not unique for creators, especially mangaka, I'm sure. As a JoJo's fan, I'm familiar with the extent to which a fan base can absorb the creator into their enjoyment of the property.
Yeah.
I'm not too involved with JoJo. I've only ever watched part 1, but yeah, I've seen some stuff. That is like the embodiment of like they might as well just be the creator in cosplay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all you gotta say. Just
Yeah, JoJo is an interesting community. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Still, even if it's not unique, I'm grateful to not be in the position of, say, a Rorinori Kenshin fan.
Thank God I
Yeah.
don't give a shit about that series. And never will.
Woohoo! We don't need to stay on that any further. Also,
No, we're good.
Yeah. I think Togashi is known to enjoy his privacy, which I can respect. I believe he has said very little about his manga's adaptations, at least Hunter x Hunter's, and doesn't do many interviews / public appearances. Yeah, Cage, you didn't really find a whole lot about relating to like the anime adaptations, right?
No, man. He does not talk about that shit like at all.
That's so interesting.
And again, I didn't read like every interview ever, but man, he has not talked about it. There's a couple from way back that I found pretty immediately from when 99 like first started, and him talking about like his voice role in that and yada yada. But it's like he talked about that and then he just like went dead radio silent forever. There's like, I don't know, he just doesn't talk about the adaptations. I don't know if he's like unhappy with them or if he just kind of doesn't want to talk about them. There's no use speculating, but it is really interesting.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like it's very much not like the common like behavior, I guess, from other mangaka of this age, right? Because like it feels like every time something gets an anime adaptation, these mangaka are like celebrating and talking about it all the time, right?
Yep,
and even longtime authors like Oda, like recent, like he speaks all the time about One Piece live action, right, for Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so interesting for me to see an author be just like not. They just don't give a shit pretty much about these adaptations. It's so interesting.
Yeah, and that's actually something very specifically I was looking for, not for this episode, I probably wouldn't have mentioned it anyways, but I was looking to see if he had ever talked about the Yu Yu Hakusho live action series from a few years ago. Nothing. Never. Like,
man,
not a word. He wasn't even involved in any press or anything with it. It's just, he's nothing. Super interesting. I don't know.
that's so crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day he'll speak on something, but like, yeah, it feels like he just doesn't watch anime even. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that. I once read that he hasn't seen the 2011 anime, and according to a Megami Han and Maria Ise,
These are Kilo and Gon.
Gotcha. Interview. The 2011 voice actors have never been able to meet him. That's sad, actually. Aw, what the hell?
Yeah, which is it's especially sad when you think about how we just talked about how the Yu Yu Hakusho voice actors were at his wedding. And now the
man,
2011 Hunter x Hunter cast at least is not getting the same treatment. Apparently.
Oh yeah, and I mean I respect the if it's all just related to privacy reasons, I respect it 100%. But it's just so interesting to see. Like, I don't know. I believe his reasoning for not having seen some adaptations is shyness and an aversion to hearing the characters and voices different to the ones he had envisioned for them himself. That's reasonable, I think. I think
that's a good theory.
Yeah. Not desiring to have his vision influenced by seeing an adaptation seems, in all fairness, perfectly in character for him based on his approach to the manga. Oh, I didn't even think about how that could like kind of bias like how he story tells too.
Yeah.
Ooh, good call there, actually. I don't think he rejects any adaptation, though, given his voice acting contribution to 99 and post-chapter promotion doodles for the movies. Oh, he did do doodles for the movies, didn't he?
Yes, and he also, I mean, also worth noting, and this was like peak interview time when Phantom Rouge was coming out. That man was in the press. And he did, Volume 0 is also technically a direct tie-in to Phantom Rouge, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We got Chapter 0 from it, though. But yeah, it's I don't know what there was an interview I read. This was cracking me the hell up, where an interview asked him, this is like after it might have been after Last Mission or Phantom Rouge, I can't remember, but an interview asked him like, oh, do you see yourself taking any influence from these movies into your work in the future? And he, like, in the nicest way possible, was just like, hell no.
Will you bring Omikage to life in canon Hunter x Hunter? Oh my god.
So funny.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay, but yeah, no, it's really funny that we can thank Phantom Rouge for at least giving us like peak interview time with Togashi. So
yeah, there's a lot.
That, I guess. But aside from that, Phantom Rouge is certainly a movie. Anyways, regarding his approach to the Hunter x Hunter manga's creation, I'm supportive personally. I care about the work being wholly Togashi's if that's what he wants, and I prefer more hiatus over him losing creative control. Yeah. Old news, but he said that between the different endings created in the case of his passing, ending C is the one that he wants, but that it would upset 90% of the audience. Oh, we never talked about those endings on the podcast before.
No, not yet. That is an episode I want to do. But yeah, we've talked about them plenty of times off air. But yeah, that ending C, which I mean, we don't even know what it is, but I as you're about to say, I also really hope that this is the ending he actually chooses, because just do it, man. Like, if that's the ending you want, then that's the ending,
Obviously implying some amount of our main cast might get killed and or have bad endings, but
something. But if that's how the story ends, that's how it ends, man. I just tell it like it is.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, let us know if you guys want a future episode over discussing these endings that Togashi has in mind. I don't know if that would be enough content for like an entire episode. But
it definitely wouldn't, because he actually only one of them is actually known.
Right.
But
maybe a bonus episode at least.
Yeah, something a little. Yeah, I'd like to talk about that at some point.
Yeah, let us know your interest, guys, on that. But continuing on with this, I hope we can get ending C or whichever he most prefers, no matter how controversial, unless it's and then Gon woke up and it was all a dream.
Nah, that's not
If Togashi wrote that, I legit wouldn't believe it. I think I'm being pranked.
There's no way. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
He did. I will say he did pull something like this for Yu Yu Hakusho, but it wasn't in the manga itself. It was in like a post-mortem like little fan book he did where he like revealed that the whole series was like a play. Like it was actors just like doing this. Like nothing even actually happened. It was just like actors doing it. But that's not like in the series. It's just like a little bonus thing he did. But
that's really funny. But yeah, I highly doubt that. It is my understanding that he has a unique amount of control over his story given by his Shonen Jump contract, though. So he could theoretically do what he wants with the ending. And yeah, absolutely. I don't think Jump has any kind of influence on his series at this point. Speaking of the Shonen Jump contract, I believe Yu Yu Hakusho's ending came about due to the conditions Togashi was working under for weekly deadlines and the strict control Jump had over the direction of his story. Yeah. I imagine this led to Togashi pursuing a more lenient contract with Shonen Jump when it came to Hunter x Hunter. I don't know much about this contract, though I doubt anyone does, but I think it's uniquely flexible, allowing for the notorious hiatus chart, rip the hiatus chart, and more creative freedom. So I don't mind that he is insistent upon controlling his own story. I'm glad he is able to. Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The people who have assisted him, though, provide some extra insight into what type of person he is. I recently read Sensei Hakusho, written by one of Togashi's Yu Yu Hakusho assistants, Kunio Ajino, who lamented that he couldn't go back to work for Togashi after Yu Yu Hakusho and was saddened to learn of Togashi's deterioration during that time. Oh, that's sad. Ajino emphasizes how kind he was. Togashi's wife, who has helped him with Hunter x Hunter, I think mostly coloring. I think you're right on that. Kaige
It was screen tones, I think, something like that.
Screen tones, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Also provides quite the insight into Togashi as a person. I feel bad for calling Miss Takeuchi just Togashi's wife.
Well, yeah.
Though, as I've known of Sailor Moon for even longer than I have of Hunter x Hunter, which is saying something given I've watched Hunter x Hunter at 9. Holy crap. Hunter x Hunter at 9? Wait a second, I'm just not processing that.
Yeah, I probably watched
Wow. I just...
yeah.
Yeah, that is a series to watch at 9 years old. That's just...
Yeah, it sure is.
They certainly are a famous couple, and both seem strange in a good way.
Very good way.
Aren't we all strange?
Right.
I haven't read any of their couples comics with their rabbit and dog personas, but the snippets / screenshots I've seen have been funny, odd, or both. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I haven't seen that actually, but I believe it. Shifting back to Weekly Shonen Jump, both the working and acting process seems pretty brutal. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, the
That's an
acting
understatement.
process specifically. Oh man, I've only been reading Shonen Jump off and on, admittedly, but partaking in that for a year and a half now. Oh my god, it's so sad to see the acting process just happen in real time almost. Yeah,
it's brutal. It's really cutthroat.
Yeah.
Death from overwork appears to be so prevalent within Japan that most people who follow any manga series are familiar with it and the conditions that mangaka work under, especially when under weekly deadlines. I think it sucks that some people feel so entitled to more chapters and go as far as to call Togashi selfish or lazy for going on hiatus. Again, people have been better about that in recent years, but yes, that was definitely a huge problem back in the day.
Absolutely.
I've been given no reason to not believe him when he says he was so ill that he couldn't sit in his desk for all that time. Perhaps it doesn't elicit sympathy in some, or maybe many just don't know. Realistically, the latter.
Yeah. I think people just don't know what it's like to actually be a mangaka, right?
Mm-hmm. As inoffensive as most of the Dragon Quest jokes are, some people go too far into actually doubting the status of his health. I think the majority are understanding, though. Yeah, exactly what we were saying.
Yeah.
Moving on, I want to mention Togashi's art. I love Togashi's art style. It's sort of a meme to call Hunter x Hunter art ugly or bad, but I think it looks great. People often quote Miss Takeuchi saying that in order to emulate Togashi's style, she would just this is real. She would just draw as badly as possible, which is funny if true, but I was unable to find a source. Okay. I believe she would say that based on the little I know about her, but whatever. She was probably just poking fun if that's a real quote.
That's so funny.
That's very funny. Regardless, one art take I have is that oops, I lost my place. The Hunter x Hunter character's fashion is lost in adaptation, especially 2011. I agree big time. We
pointed out with almost every character that we see for the first time in 99. It was wow, these outfits are so much better than 2011.
yeah. 1999 gets the drip down way better.
Absolutely.
This could just be a me thing, but I think Togashi is so good at drawing clothing and outfits, and it can't easily be replicated when the characters' outfits are translated to uber consistent character models. What I think makes Togashi's outfits so nice are the clothing folds / bagginess and layers. The loss of these folds, he very much does. The folds / bagginess makes for better silhouettes, perhaps, but detracts from the outfits. This is just my opinion, though, and I love 2011 regardless, even if they make Killua's shoes ugly as fuck. Yeah, they sure do. He's got the Sora shoes.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts shoes.
Arguably, Gon's outfit was unsalvageable, but I dressed in denim booty shorts when I was 12 too. You did? I didn't.
I definitely didn't, but fair enough.
Beyond outfits. Hey, Beyond? Is that a reference?
Whoa.
I think whatever pen Togashi uses makes the line art so nice to look at. He's really good at at
Pointing.
posing, and as I already mentioned, clothing, and his simple expressions are so effective. Yes. Oh, I forgot to talk about his expressions. His facial expressions that he draws are actually top notch, some of the best in the biz. I love his little, like, I both love his hyper detailed facial expressions and his just like little like cartoony scribbles in the background. They're just so perfect.
Yeah, they're great.
He's very good at effectively communicating emotions.
Mm-hmm.
There are some panels of Killwa's face, for example, that are made up of max 10 pen strokes minus hair pieces, and yet the slightest incline of the eyebrows makes it so evocative. Absolutely, yeah. This isn't to say that all of his expression work is minimalistic. A take that's probably untrue. Is probably a word?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I would bet money that it's not, but I'll check.
It could be, but they probably just meant to say probably.
Yeah, that's what I... Oh, probably is actually a word. Never mind. I lost all my money.
It's all gone.
In a way that is capable of being proved.
Oh. Well, that makes sense. Well, thank you. New word. But rather that he knows how to make either of the two extremes equally effective. Yeah, I basically just said that. I should have just kept reading your sentence. Regarding the history of Togashi's manga, I'm not as familiar as I could be, but I've forayed a bit into his non-Hunter x Hunter stuff. I've read 2 of his super early one-shots, started reading Level E, and started watching Yu Yu Hakusho, but didn't get very far in either. I got distracted. Fair enough. One thing I've noticed throughout all, even with the shifting art style and genre, is a consistent sense of humor. Togashi is pretty funny IMO. The occasional comedy in Hunter x Hunter and in Level E so far has gelled with me. I definitely feel Togashi's personality permeate his manga in comedic moments. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
One of Togashi's manga that I find curious is the manga that never was, Trouble Quartet. Perhaps you already know, but Yu Yu Hakusho Volume 1 bonus page revealed that before making Yu Yu Hakusho, Togashi pitched to Weekly Shonen Jump an idea for a manga about cross-dressing homosexual sports players. Now that sounds like Togashi.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like Togashi.
I think the sport was baseball, but I may have invented that fact. As the pages I found when looking through the volume mentioned only the protagonist and the cross-dressing homosexual part. But I would guess that the sport is baseball since Togashi seems to like it, as we know about in the Level E, famous Level E baseball chapter, the best one.
Yeah. Not to spoil your Level E experience, so I won't comment on it too much. But he likes baseball, I think.
Yeah, he does. Anyway, ambiguously gendered baseball players sounds like a very Togashi idea. Yes, it sure does. We didn't really talk about that a whole lot in this, but yeah, Togashi does have a very big fascination with the concept of gender. Which
definitely.
I enjoy. I think it's very interesting to see a mangaka tackle that kind of stuff, both good and bad. He hasn't always nailed it. There's some not great stuff in Yu Yu Hakusho in regards to that, but he's always learning. It doesn't come from a bad place. It comes from a place of learning, I think.
Right. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I wouldn't know about Yu Yu Hakusho's problems specifically, but in Hunter x Hunter, it's been mostly tasteful whenever that comes up.
Yeah. Maybe it'd be more Togashi-esque if they were also in an RPG and members of the occult. Regardless, Rip Gen Otoda. That's it, I think. I hope Togashi is well. I wonder if someone will give him a copy of Nen Impact. Somebody probably will, but he won't play it.
You want to give, Togashi might be dying on the inside. You want to give him a copy of Nen Impact with that control scheme?
Yeah.
Let's not injure his hands now, too.
You want to break his fingers? He doesn't need that.
No, but, someone strap him to a chair and make him watch a tournament of it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I want him to see it.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Let him watch Leorio gameplay.
Yeah, wait a minute. I can cook something with him now.
Yeah.
Dark Conan looking kind of like a Leorio arc now.
Yeah.
But either way, though, yeah, I doubt we'll ever get a comment on that from Togashi about that game. But
I really doubt it. I'll keep an eye out though.
oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, thank you for the comment. Don't worry about it being as long as it was. Glad we got it in here today. Good
Yes.
takes, good comments.
Thank you.
Next up, we have probably the shortest comment of all time from insert name. Someone needs to check this. This might be a new record for him.
Yeah.
But he says, the referee for Heaven's Arena having a robust side gig drawing is a surprise. Referring to, I think maybe referring to the comic that Leo Dog is currently writing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is a referee there. And yeah, it is surprising.
Yeah, no, Togashi gets around, you know? Maybe
Yeah,
that's
he
why you
does.
can't comment on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless, are you Togashi, insert name, as we discussed earlier? We'll have to
You know,
find out.
you didn't name him in the comments, so you know maybe there's something there, right?
And
Everyone pressing.
you're right. I've never seen Togashi and insert name in the same room before.
No, I haven't either.
Just saying.
Keep that in the back of your heads, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And lastly, is this the last one?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you know what? Actually, I do have one from Bluesky that I forgot about. I'll just throw it in. I'll write here. It's very short.
Okay.
I'll put it up on the screen. This is from Milu Kitty, who simply says, he married Naoko Takeuchi and enjoys Dragon Quest. He's the GOAT. And yeah, what more can be said? You're so
What
right.
more can be said?
And he does love his Dragon Quest.
Apologies, Milo Kitty, if I scared you at the beginning for saying we didn't have any Blue Sky responses. I was not aware
Yes,
of that. So.
yes. Sorry, I forgot to put it in the document. But yeah, okay. But I will still read this comment. I don't want to use that as my turn,
No. Okay, fair enough.
unless you want to read it.
We could split it up if you want to. This is a bit of a lengthy one.
Yeah.
but-
Split it up at the sentence says I'm praying.
Gotcha.
It's about even. All right. So this is from Weary Exile. He says, he's just like me for real, absolute legend. You can even see me in the photo you posted standing with the goat to his left with him clearly pointing towards me in acknowledgement. Y'all just not like me. Yeah, that's fair. I was
Fair
wondering
enough.
who that was in the photo, but yeah, I guess it was you, Weary Exile.
Take your word for it.
It's okay. I knew you wouldn't believe me. Actually, we did. So
Well, we
I'm
did.
kind of
Yeah. What are you gonna do
assuming.
now?
So let's get back on track and talk about the Mad Lad himself. Whoever created this man, they did not fumble the bag. So true. Not only is he brilliant, prodigious author with accolades that most mangaka would envy, he is also a pro gamer, being behind only the likes of Genthru, the GOAT, his second best character. True.
True.
A legend who managed to rizz up a baddie of a wife who is no slouch and a great mangaka herself. The guy won first award as a mangaka back when he was just 20, absolute prodigy. My journey through his work started back when I first watched Yu Yu Hakusho as a 10-year-old kid. I had a blast with it. While not a perfect series, not even close to being my favorite, it was a great setup for my eventual watch and then read through of Hunter x Hunter. The story has blown me away and cemented Togashi as the peak shonen mangaka for me, although he does excel at comedy and sci-fi genres as well, with Level E being quite a fun read. Two interesting trivia facts: Togashi has a brother, Hideaki, who is also a mangaka.
I did
True.
not know that.
I didn't mention that, but yeah, I did read about that. And second fun one, he voiced a minor, if not background character in the 1999 anime. I'm not sure if you had talked about that in your watch through videos. We did.
Yeah, we did. Don't worry. Continuing on. I'm praying that this man gets significantly better and concludes his magnum opus. Unlike Hacks and G.R.R. Martin, Togashi would have certainly finished his work by now had he not suffered from his back health deteriorating. Yeah. I struggle to think about if he would have finished it by now, to be honest. But because like the Hunter x Hunter world is just like that vast. But,
yeah, it's hard to imagine an alternate timeline where it never like went on hiatus at any point. I don't know when or if it would have ended. It could still be going on. It just like in the thousands of chapters, like One Piece.
Yeah. It could have been another One Piece situation for all we know. But
yeah,
not like we can turn back the clock, unfortunately.
No.
It is quite astonishing how, despite his condition, he didn't run out of his creative juice, with the Succession War arc being one of the most ambitious and promising setups in general, while being a minor detour to the behemoth of the potential story that Dark Continent arc/saga may and hopefully one day will be.
Yeah, isn't that so impressive that like this whole arc that we're in right now is basically a detour or like a prelude to something even bigger.
It's like a transition arc, yeah.
Yeah,
when you really
it
think
is.
in the grand scope of things.
Yeah,
That's so insane.
it's crazy.
Feels like the entire like world stakes are like, you know, in the balance right now on this stupid boat, but like that's just the beginning.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
In a way, he is that OP anime character that has a chronic disease and thus can't solve all problems or achieve all of his goals, so he has to be nerfed by the plot. So essentially, Togashi is a real-life Itachi/Kimamaru for Naruto fans, or Roger/Whitebeard for One Piece fans, who was nerfed by life through terrible work conditions in Weekly Shonen Jump.
Yeah, that's a great
Kind of.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only speak to One Piece, not Naruto, but...
No, it's the same shit.
Oh, okay, fair enough. In an ideal world, Hunter x Hunter would have already been the best manga ever made, with a brilliant ending, completed anime adaptation, and God knows how many other things the man would draw. The man is a prodigy, a Rizzler, a pro gamer, a philosopher, sometimes a misanthrope, but most importantly, he is him. Love you, Togashi.
Hell yeah.
P.S. Don't forget, this man created perfection that is Owl, the most based, thought-provoking, multifaceted, and unanimously, I can't read, beloved character.
Unanimously.
Shut up, man. That's my one freebie per video, per episode, whatever. Unanimously beloved character, idea of whom not only inspired this podcast, sauce, trust me, bro, but was the reason Togashi even made Hunter x Hunter in the first place.
True. So true.
I trust him. Yeah.
Yeah. You're so right.
I couldn't have said a lot of that better myself. Yeah, Togashi is just that guy, I think.
He really is. Yeah, we love him. I especially like what you said about the characters being nerfed by the sickness trope.
Yeah.
That's very accurate. Yeah. He's too powerful. He had to be nerfed.
Mm-hmm. The world wouldn't be able to handle a completed Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the comments that we have for today, guys. I will remind you again, if you want to get in on the fun discussion, all that fun stuff week to week, make sure you keep an eye out for the YouTube community posts on our YouTube channel, as well as the call-out posts on Twitter and Bluesky if you have those available. And of course, if you are an audio-only listener and you don't have access to social media, you can always email us your thoughts at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com.
That's right. And with that, this has been the Hunter Association. Thank you so much for listening. We are available on all major podcasting platforms, as well as YouTube for the video version. Be sure to follow, rate, review, and comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod, as well as Bluesky at THAPod for updates on the show and as an alternative way to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. As always, we'll be here the same time every week talking about Hunter x Hunter. Dylan, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me online at DJ Tengen. That's DJTENGEN on Twitter and Bluesky. I really like the One Piece card game as of late. I feel like that's all I ever tweet about now. But maybe that's wrong. I can't remember now what I've tweeted at this point. Go check me out there if you're interested, though.
Yes, and you can find me on just Bluesky at Kaige10. That's KIIGE10. And, I post sometimes.
When he feels like it.
Yeah, whenever I feel like it. Yeah,
although
that's all we got.
There is a little teaser on Caige's Bluesky. You guys should check that out if you're interested in more of Caige's stuff, what he's up to, potentially.
Yeah, might have something coming soon. So yeah, that's it for this week. Next week, we're continuing Hunter x Hunter 1999 with episodes 25 through 27. Getting to the end of Hunter exams, sort of.
Right, slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely, we're getting there.
Yeah.
God, almost 30 episodes in and we're not even done with Hunter exams.
Hopefully see what Tompa's up to next week.
Yes, we have a very crazy Tompa thing happening next week, apparently. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for this week. So we'll see you guys for that. And thanks for listening or watching. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Thank you for listening, guys. Take care. Okay, one more pretzel bite after I finish this one, then we can continue.
Okay. I'm glad you're on that train too. Brayden's not a believer in the pretzel bites.
He said it wasn't salty enough. And I'm like, bro, I think I just gave you bad pretzel bites, like, out of the container.
I swear, because
Like, look at how much salt is on this one. Like, what the fuck?
I know. He must have just got like the driest ones in there or something.
Battery's just a salt lord. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to taste just salt. Fuck that.
Yeah, I know. It's not the whole thing. There's more to a pretzel than salt.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one more. These are addicting.
Dude, I know. It's bad. I'm always
just
like,
got this-
alright, I'll just eat like 2 right now, and then
Yeah,
I eat like
yeah.
10.
I'm through damn near half the container
It's-
already, and I just got it today.
It's so hard to stop eating them.
Pushing that away for now. That'll be gone by the next few days, though.
Oh,
Guaranteed.
easily, yeah. That will not last the week.